Well, the sun still being out past 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time can only mean one thing. That's right. We are in the final week before we start our conference championships here in the CCL for the 2025 season. I'm Corn. With me is Cash. Number 8th ranked Mustangs Esports against the 20th ranked Carleton Ravens. Amber, tonight should be a fun one.
It's going to be a blast. There's, again, more than enough to talk about for what these teams are playing for, but let's not hesitate and let's dive right into it, Alex.
Let's do it. We got statistics coming up here for what we need in order for these teams to get into the conference championship. We've already got one team locked in at the moment, but for both of these teams, there's some interesting scenarios that are going to be able to come about this. First and foremost, we'll talk about, I guess, for the Mustangs. If the Mustangs win, guess what? They are in. That's right. Fisher Esports on the opposite end. It would be a Mustang Esports versus a Fisher Esports conference championship for the Northeast Atlantic. Talking about the second and third situations, if Carleton win, but the Fisher Falcons, not to be confused with Fisher Esports, win, then it will be a Fisher Falcons versus Fisher Esports conference championship. The third scenario and the final one where it would see Carleton getting in would be if Carleton win and the Fisher Falcons lose versus Syracuse, Carleton would win the head-to-head versus Mustangs and the Carleton head-to-head versus Fisher Esports, allowing them to then play Fisher Esports inside of the conference championship. So, over-explaining, maybe a bit, just kind of keeping it broad here, though. Mustangs win, they are in. Carleton needs some help with a win to get forward.
And either way, you're playing Fisher Esports, so a chance at redemption, but a win here is what you're playing for. Obviously speaking, it's just coming down to, Alex, there's, things you can talk about of, okay, the head-to-heads, as we go to look at those and kind of see where these teams stand. Look, who's going to play the best COD tonight? And as we kind of get, the parallels of these teams and their journey throughout this season, there's not a lot to say about the importance where you can overstate this matchup tonight. It's just going to be who wants to play the best Call of Duty and play for conference championship. And it's going to be against Fisher, sure, but both these teams wanting a chance of redemption, wanting a chance to prove themselves against the highly touted team, most touted team in the CCL.
Yeah, it's going to be tough if they want to come away with not only a conference championship, but even a win here tonight. Both of these teams are very strong. We'll look at the head-to-head between both of them, as Amber mentioned previous. First and foremost, I guess we'll talk about the side of Mustangs Esports. They are, favored across the board on the left side, as you see, but their hard point and their control, the respawn has been really good all year. Not to take away from their search and destroy, but that's what they excel at. They excel at that hard point, and it's none other than a few key players such as Dilo or Asylum who make that so pretty.
It's one that they've relied on the entire year, that duo, to step up and play in tandem off of one another. And like you said, it just has them favored, at least as far as the series against Carleton Ravens is concerned. But you look to the other side of things, and there's, a submachine gun duo that maybe packs quite the punch, and that's going to be Starly and Ailey. They are the ones who you expect, especially as we look to dive into the map set that we have coming up. Small maps need to play big. That's what it comes down to on the side of Carleton.
Yeah, it was last week we actually got to see this Carleton roster take on the Syracuse Orangemen on mainstream. I got to broadcast that with my boy Colin Moore. But one thing that we can absolutely take away from that best of 5 and what Amber already hit on with that SMG duo of Starry and Ailey, they are phenomenal when they run the map together. You pair that up with McBain and Chip, this squad is hard to beat. But on the other side, they are playing the Mustangs Esports team, and they are 8th ranked for a reason. They've only dropped one map throughout the entire year, and that was to the Fisher Falcons, who they are also trying to knock out of conference championship play. We'll take a look at our map set here for our best of 5 series inside of the Northeast Atlantic region. And we'll start out with a Vault Hardpoint, and you'll very quickly notice that we will get very redundant as we go to Map 5. Skyline S&D up 2nd, Vault Control 3rd. We'll go back to Skyline for Map 4 and back to the Vault on Map 5. Hopefully we can stock some funds up and then be able to rape them out in the end of the series, but we shall see what happens.
Really testing the limits of their map pools tonight. Either of these teams kind of pushing things the distance, but Alex, I think most notably I want to talk about and touch on, as far as the respawns go, I want to look at that Vault Control. Both teams very much winning in that category on that map specifically. Mustangs are 6-2, Carleton are 7-2 on a Vault Control. You look to map 4, which of course we very much hope to get there tonight. Mustangs are 5-0 on Skyline Hardpoint. Carleton is 6-1. So again, on paper, this is shaking out to be what you would love to guarantee, a Game 5 situation. But in the respawns, these teams are so closely touted, though Mustangs have that edge in the series advantage overall. I think when you break down this specific map set, is going to be one that simply falls at a Razor's Edge.
And it will too, because like these maps are very chaotic. So it's not only a fact of like, okay, yeah, we play this map well, but like you're playing a Vault and Skyline series. It's a baseline of what it is. And like when you're playing a Vault and Skyline throughout the entire game, and not only do you not really give yourself a second to think about what's in front of you, it's just sprint. So where you have a Hacienda sometimes in the mix, or a Protocol, where those maps can slow down a touch to kind of, you know, regain and get your footing for what you want to do next, or what that next hit that you want to make. When you're on a Vault hardpoint, very rarely do you have time to think, because it's just a dead sprint back to the hill over and over again. Don't even get me started if we get to a map 4 Skyline.
Well, Alex, we've talked about it every which way. It boils down to one statement: who wants to play for a conference championship against Fisher Esports? We've got compact maps here. We've got lightning fast teams. Hopefully you want to kick things off, a couple kills in the feed, make that 3 for Mustangs, but in the hill, garnering time. Will be Mustangs Esports early.
That was a pretty snapper from Ailey, but he'll be forced to get outside of the middle of the map. The Mustangs Esports, they will take over, hold down the time early here on P1. Kill feed continues to be red. It's only been Ailey to spice that up every so often. Looking from the top cap position, waiting for the reinforcements to arrive throughout the middle of the map, but once again, it's just another clean wipe almost of these players from the Ravens. Finally, they'll get some positioning, but it won't matter. Starry last alive, trying to push pin.
Looking to play for P2. Ailey out there early, but again, all of it's just really compact into mid-map. No one's stretching, spreading the map to try to get over to P2 early. Asylum finding these kills that will give an avenue, that will give safe spawn. So in a quick succession of kills, you flip the map on its head, you get set up for new. You also have a 20-point lead, and Asylum continuing to roam the map, continuing to find these kills. Now you've pushed them out, spawning exactly where you want.
And you have Dello, who's playing in a great block spot, but that final kill in the back could give way to the Ravens to potentially spawn in, and they will. So as Mustangs now hold the back line, Ethan's going to be forced into a 1v2. They're going to push in through short as well. Asylum has the pinch play opportunity to make his way back over to P2 and help out the rest of the Mustangs roster. Ailey, the first one to slide in, chip there for a double. Dello on the back end, still looking at long range, but 30 seconds go the way of the Mustangs. Carleton will break in.
Hero trying to stay alive, play his life, and we find some of these kills. Dario connect for 1, he's going to get taken down and traded immediately. It is still going to be Carleton on the time early on. They're finding ways to hold, but Zay just going to play volleyball through the front, try to find one of these kills, get the player off time, and that'll be the case. You get the rest of the players on outer palms. An unfortunate teammate will waste just a few seconds here, but this scrap you're fighting for, and going 3 for 3 on hill rotation wins is going to be Mustang Esports. They get chopped down there for a moment, but spawns should still be safe and are full side for Mustang.
Hey, you'll take a tasty 10 if you are the Ravens. Back out the P3, A-Leap stuck in a corner, read out by Asylum, and you have 2 players running into the backside of Art. So Carleton will get the initial time here inside of P3. It was all thanks to a Mustang setup on the opposite side of the map. They should be able to collapse back around the point. Here come the kills. Ethan, Dello, find a couple. Starry trying to escape with his life in tow. Through the mid-map, 3 men will push. Knock down is Zay into the vault, drop Starry.
Gonna try to get a test on with his teammate here. You're playing from the front side, trying to pinch and find time, but without taking care of Ethan, top Art, you don't feel super confident to jump time here, and that'll be the case. And even Chip, unaware of these roaming players in Asylum and Zay up until this point, trying to watch, make sure their back is safe, but you have the Bane who flipped the net. He gets taken care of early, so not only do you have a position to play for scrap time, you have a pinch developing top ammo, and you have rotation to new.
It was the right play from McBain, unfortunately read out though, so spawns will be favored here for P4 on the Mustang side of things. You look at what the Ravens are going to try and throw here. A straggler back towards P3. McBain will slide out the side door. Asylum will trade on the opposite end of the map. Takes down the cat control, and not only 1 player pushing from the pool side. Rest of the reinforcements coming from the top side, P3. Into back Art, that's the objective and where the Ravens want to find themselves. Will they be able to find the answer, at least for now, is no, as Ethan finds 1. Looks for the second. Good night on the push through.
Now you know these players, at best, the yard line of the map is slang, starting to lean Mustang Esports as we get to the back half of this hill. In this first set of rotations, everyone positive for Mustangs Esports, notably Philo, Ethan, off to great starts as well. On the outside looking in, lots to take care of, lots of kills to find before you can get in, and it just won't be the case for the moment. McBain, the last player standing on time, quickly going to get chowed out, still 20 seconds to fight for, and a 60-point.
Has not been relatively close inside of P4, but the money help, my lord. Sexy little snapper there from Asylum. As he takes the pistol out on Chip, we'll find the second one across the cross. Oh my, okay, bodies are already getting shot. All right, GG's.
With the lead they have, sure, maybe rolling the dice, taking that gamble. Carleton need to come alive the second set of rotations. And Alex, I think what it boils down to thus far, sure, Slang hasn't looked good, but they haven't set themselves up to win many rotations. P1, even if it's a mixie that you can keep at least fighting in your favor for the duration. But P2 needs to keep their focus and winning that rotation. They just need to make sense of the map right now. They're a little lost.
It's one of the cleanest wipes we've seen the Ravens get so far, though. So you called it out. Get lost. Allow yourselves to push up the map forward. They want to flip out for P2, but they don't need to do so just yet. They just need to hold down for some sufficient time here in the middle of the map. Excuse me. Stay on the back end. Will drop down. Ailey will slide forward. You've got Chaos mustering up in the point right now as the Mustangs try to slide back in. It's constant pressure from Starry up towards Top Cat. And once again, they get 3 down. They can start pushing the map out. It's going to be a hard fight for P2, though.
That's the problem. They aren't able to push the map out even if they get a break here, which they've done relatively cleanly. You called the clean kill feed. They have not been able to win that foot race over to New. They got a decent bit of time off P2, but at this point in the game, they definitely need to try to cut this deficit in a significant way. Now out of home control, you're working from poolside. You just need to win a couple more kills. This rotation is going to be clean. This first bit of time should be as well. Can you thwart this next push? They need a roaming Slayer.
I just want to see a strong hold from the Ravens to give me confidence going out throughout the rest of this map that they can take it to the side of Mustangs. Starry on the outside of Palms. Will get traded out by Ailey. You have 2 players pushing through short into the hill. Shots are going to go wayward for the first. Ailey finds 2 with a McBain tag on for 3. So once again, it's a clean kill feed for the Ravens. They've done a great job of being able to hold the first 30.
Good line. Yeah, everything was locked down that they need to, but the push from the front to re-break in is going to go well for them. They're going to fly in, going to find 2 as well. So what were wayward shots for a moment? Now they start to collect. Now they start to recenter. And broken into the snow. And once they push the lead back out once again with the AR close range, Zay's going to walk away with it. So you get the break, you get the back half of scrap time. On rotation to New, you're going to take care of business this go around. Transition is underway. Like that Starry posted up top art, he's going to be a problem.
Hopefully they can make use out of the map positioning. Talking about the Ravens, of course, as they have top art control. Inside of P3, they will lay first once again. Dello trying to make his way forward with the AR. Few players working their way through middle map. Asylum forced to back off with 48 HP, but you can see what the Mustangs are trying to do. They don't necessarily want to grab the initial P3 time here. They're trying to rotate around, but now that those players that were playing the contestation route to try and wrap through the spawns are dead, they're going to have to play the P3 and try to make something break happen later on in this P3 hill.
Starry has to stay alive, and good play, and Mustangs don't push through the backside of spawn, so he spawned close for a moment so they can contest with this pinch play. Also, it's going to be on Ethan. He's going to try to wait, find a timing for this kill in tandem with Zay, but for now it is Carleton holding the time. It's a 40-point deficit here, still with 20 seconds to fight for. So while you're playing the long game, you're trying to get spawns for New. It's all Carleton in the feed as far as mid-map is concerned. You get the last second push, but now the fight for spawns is underway.
They had parallels for a moment, but it's going to be a split spawn here for the Ravens. Ethan in the back trying to sniff out Ailey. Long-range shots are good. He's going to be forced to drop down. Lay and wait for anybody trying to push their way forward. Inside of P4, by yourself, 3 Mustangs players corralling what will be this hill time. You just want to lay down up top. Asylum could get caught on the staircase here. Good timing goes Ailey's way. He wins the 1v1. This allows the Ravens to now push his way in. Ethan and Della will pair for 2. Last player trying to survive under the outline look of that catwalk. But on the spawn, it's the Mustangs who win it in. They get P4.
They need to be careful here. Just make a good push. You don't want to solo child this because that can really blow the game out and put things away as you approach 200 points if you are Mustangs. Esports, they're trying to work for spawns. They're trying to do what they can, but they need to get in. Great time is fine. They cannot let it keep ticking away of the Mustangs. They need to find an opportunity. And with 3-for-1 in the feed, it's starting to look like it did earlier on in this hard point. In Mustangs, looking to take over, looking to try to close this one out. It's back out to a 70-point lead.
Just trying to play your life in the back end is Ailey. And sure, you'll find a couple of kills, but you're not getting the hill time off of it. Yeah, you break in for the final 10. But you are down a significant portion to this Mustangs roster. The 8th ranked team making this map one look rather easy for themselves. Zay on the flank, thinks wiser of it, will chow back up to the catwalk, has to look for Alien middle map, but unfortunately does get read out. So what is a 70-point lead now? Continues to grow. Mustangs outside of the hill looking to take advantage of this 3v2.
Ailey leading the way slaying and slower through the later portions of this hard point of the rest of the team. They've tried to make those moments happen for themselves, but no big explosive play that's opened the door for them. They find themselves trying to get footing in one of the scrappiest hills on this map, so they need to try to secure it, chain it to New, as we've called time and time before. We haven't seen anything that stuck Alex, but for now, getting a good amount of time, winning these gunfights also, but it is just not enough at this stage of the game.
This is what happened last time, too. They fought for the back end of scrap. Yes, they got the rotation out to P2, but they need to be careful, because I don't think Starry was able to read that the spawns are going to flip once again. Sure, he gets out for 1, but very easily he's going to be traded by Dello, who's playing out her palms. So now your contention of being able to play 1, rewrap that, and try to string that together to P2 is gone. Mustangs, they can win it here.
with an opportunity to do so. Shift's going to be creeping up palm side, needs to win this gunfight, and does. His teammates need to quickly collapse on this as well. You need to find another wave of kills to be able to push out these spawns. That won't be the case, and just holding this from the front isn't going to be enough. With them spawning so close and you spawning in mid-map, the foot race is going to be won time and time again by Mustangs Esports. Not going to be able to win it here, but you set them up well, and no clear lane to get in. It has to be a good push.
Overheat out of the back, and that allowed Zay to get inside of the hard point. Once again, it's pain to the Ravens, as there has just been like no clear or concise way that I've seen them to be able to consistently hold down hard points. In the slide shout from Starry Short, it's another bit of scrap time that they're trying to fight for. Game's not over, still a reasonable margin to be able to come back from, but on a map like Vault, especially with some of these tail end hard points, going into P3, you don't want to have a 35-point difference be the the difference between you and the game win.
It's just, now you've let Mustangs completely roam the map and get to their spots, your top ammo, your top art, someone time, and someone playing pool cutoff. So it is worst case scenario for Carleton Ravens to have to find these players spread as far as they are around the map. The kill feed reflecting how strong this setup is. You're spawning about as far away as you possibly could. 25 seconds and dwindling. Alex for Mustangs to close out map 1. Sure, Starry's able to find a couple, but again, at what cost? Now, as you simply are letting time sit gray, you just aren't sure where this next push is coming from and where these next fights will need to be taken. Just lack of confidence here.
You gave the Mustangs a free 15. And you also gave them the P4 spawns because you couldn't win the gunfights across the map. You allowed yourselves to flip out immediately. And yeah, you'll hold on once again for another 20. This game, again, still not over. You're closing the gap ever so slightly. But you haven't shown the ability to truly be able to break an initial set of hill time on one of these money hills, a P2 or P4. Going back to a P4, you're winning the gunfights. They're in the right places. Dello and Ethan, still the last two contestant players. And Ethan's going to sniff out this back art push.
Starry connects for a couple, players top art. I'd like to see them play together and bully this out, not just give isolated 1v1s, but they're in time for the moment. They're going to completely ignore the player art, but that just gives Ethan a chance to strike, and strike he will. Sure, you're in time, but you lost a member there. You need to work a pick quickly.
I love this, though, from the Ravens. Yes, they lose a body, but Starry's still up top as a contestant. He's going to wait for them to come off spawn at pool. As long as they can take out Dello, they should be able to have a chance here at P4. Starry will drop down, find the player inside of the hard point. He might be able to do the same once again here, but they're going to be ready for it this time. Back end, he's going to get terrible timing through the backside door, and as Zay comes in from behind, it's 8 points for them to be able to take map 1.
Now you have to fly. You just couldn't get the timing on that last situation. So closing out map 1 will be Mustangs here in moments that you had an opportunity to claw your way back into it. You called it. You had a decent time, a sneaky bit of time to make it a 40-point lead on P4. But again, as said best by you, there was never a moment you could confidently say, okay, they have a chance to make this break. Starry staying alive there was their best look. And again, on the side, COD timing simply doesn't go their way.
See the final play one more time here. And this was when Zay came to the backside of spawn, was able to break his way back into P2. But I will say this. I mean, from top to bottom, I mean, you can see it was a completely one-sided game for Mustangs Esports. It kind of felt that way too. Although the map differential is only about 58 points, from opening jump to the end there, it just felt like, Carleton, it was just damage mitigation. And well, I mean, you can see it from the chart here too. Again, just damage mitigation, grasping at straws on the tail end of hills, just trying to, gather some scrap time. So it never really felt like they had much of a chance in the map 1 hardpoint. It feels kind of gross to have to say that about the Ravens, talking so well about that SMG duo coming into it. But I mean, credit where credit is due. McBain played a decent game, but for the Mustang side of things, it was just an overall team game where they were able to just keep that gap between them and this 20th ranked Ravens roster. So that is what really all she wrote for map 1. And any kind of takeaways that you saw from Carleton that you'd like to see worked on?
I would like to just see the comms clean up a little bit. You can tell with, again, a player watching flank where, you knew they were spawning back poolside on P2 when you did get an opportunity to break. It was just something that played well to the Mustangs. They were able to kind of exploit the miscomms coming in from Carleton. So I'd like to see them tighten that up. And that comes with, okay, your ability to win rotations as well, if you know exactly how you want to influence the map. They didn't have much of that in map 1. So going into map 2 on a skyline, those comms have to be clean. Everyone has to know what they're watching and when. And if they can tighten that up, surely they can get a few more of those gunfights to go their way as well. But it's got to be a quick turnaround for them.
Yeah, kind of like bringing comms into the same thing of like individual gunplay as well. There was one moment where they broke into P2 for what seemed like the first time all game that they were able to break a money hill. And as soon as they were able to break in without thinking that, you know, hey, I need to, you know, get those reinforcements behind me. And sure, it could have been a good play, all things considered, if he would have been able to win the gunfight. I believe it was Starry who actually made the push out back. He got the first gunfight in the hill and then immediately overheated and overchowed the backside of the pool when they only had 2 dead, so there could have been one coming off spawn directly afterwards. It could have potentially been a 1v2 gunfight that he was going to take, but instead he takes the 1v1, lost it, and that allowed Mustangs to then start to build that lead even further in the late portions of the game. So that's just another one of those like one-on-one mistakes. Again, I don't necessarily know if I'd call it a mistake, because if he wins the gunfight, we call him a hero for it, but again, you don't want to make the hero plays, you want to make the correct play. So little things to focus on going into map 2, but I will say this, that kind of style works on Skyline, so I kind of want to see him continue to make that happen. So it's like what doesn't work on one works on another. It's COD at the end of the day, and it's these small close range maps.
Look, the blade cuts both ways, and again, a hero play if you win it, and if not, you wonder why was that even a thing. But with Skyline, like you said, you get a little more of that opportunity, and you need to not shy away in map 2. Don't try to turtle up and think you can't maybe overchow or overheat at some points. If you play it smart, they can't back down and continue to let the Mustangs run away with the pacing. They were able to dictate map 1 from start to finish. They cannot let them continue to run over them and just push this. It could very well be a 3-0 if they don't have any kind of pushback. So they need to continue to make a strong stand, right? Don't just roll over and say, okay, let's try to find our opportunity back in. Make it happen for yourselves. Play a strong map 2. Rely on your ARs, and that submachine gun to hit up, or excuse me, to hit stride again. But again, the ARs need to trust holding their irons, trust the comms of their teammates, and they can be right back in it. Just slow down what Mustangs are giving you, make good reads around that, and then again, we could have the series tied up 1-1. But off opening break, it does look like Mustangs coming out quickly, getting the hotter start. Carleton, an opportunity to bounce back in it quickly, and since these are the only 2 maps we'll be seeing, both teams need to settle in and get comfortable.
Yeah, the taste in my mouth after map 1 isn't a great mouthfeel for the Ravens here. And looking at the numbers, it doesn't complement that at all. 2-2 here on this map in the search and destroys compared to the 4-1 for this Mustangs Esports roster. And you and I have said it time and time again, I don't take any sort of statistics from regular season CCL matches at face value whatsoever. But on a map count specifically, I think it does kind of bode well for Mustangs Esports when we talk about overall records this time, because Skyline is a S&D map where like it feels relatively one-dimensional, and a lot of times it is, but there are ways, and again, it comes down to comms for the roster, but like there are ways you can make this map feel a little bit more 2 or 3D or 3-dimensional, and you can see the best teams consistently do that, whether it is, you know, taking that 2v1 challenge fight inside of, you know, that A site, or being able to call out, hey, let's slow it down for a second, and you know, make them overthink a little bit. And I think that's what Mustangs have done really well all year. Last week they did a lot of that in the search and destroy, where they kept the other team that they were playing against on their toes. When you keep your opponent on your toes, especially on a map like Skyline, it helps you so much, because if you don't commit to that fast hit every round, or maybe you give respect to an offensive hit, even if you don't necessarily respect the gunfights that they're going to be taking against you, it changes the complexion of a Skyline. And if you're a top-ranked team, whether that be the top of the CCL or even a Challengers roster, something you're going to be able to do quite well for yourself. So early on here, it's going to be offense for the Ravens. Chip will have bomb in hand. Starry looking to get aggressive outside of the closet. They're not going to push out just yet. They're waiting for the Mustangs to fly at them. Snap challenge out. Oh my goodness, it should have been Starry for the first blood, and instead Asylum will be able to pop a double. It's a 4v2 early on. Good luck, McBain, you're all by yourself.
It would take one little damage dealt enough to not have the gumption to be able to win the second gunfight. I think that Starry play kind of can tell the rounds in a sense. Just we can see on the minimap Asylum sliding out behind him, Kitchen, and if he does not quickly collect that kill, it's all for naught. What could have been a first blood quickly traded out suddenly puts you in a man disadvantage. As they have what we've seen this series, the Mustangs collapse quickly around that and are able to clean up the round. A blink and you miss it, but not in the part of the map you would think.
Ay. All right, well, you don't find the first blood if you're Carleton. That at least would have given you the trade situation, but it's a flawless round for Mustangs, and they're going to attack the bridge immediately. 2 versus 2 on it. McBain slides across. You have the second one there. Zay should be found dead, but it's a 2v2 immediately after the fact. So you get traded out. Chip survives. Ethan forces himself all the way back, and he gives himself a chance at a 1v2.
Bomb down is one of the worst things about the situation. Barring 1v2, but he catches the player out. Can he get away with the timing? Answer, no. Gets cut down as he's getting out of the gym. A great job. No, it went 2v2. You get bombed down, and again, just take care of your lives around that. You force the 1v2, you force a player to have to make a big play.
Yeah.
A good answer back defensively. Offensively, it's been really lackluster on either side for these teams, and, well, we get it kicked off again. It's going to be the Ravens.
Well, to give him respect, right? Like, you know, at least to up top, it's like, okay, Carleton's like, we're not going to just give you the map for free. You're not going to get a free play across the catwalk on us. You're not getting the B site. We're going to put 2 bodies there, and they make it sticks. And that's the kind of stuff that I like from the Ravens. Show that force early on, so that you're not going to go quietly. Speaking of going quietly, Zay will say goodnight. Ailey will find himself a double to complement what Asylum had on the first defense for the Mustangs. So this time they give themselves the man advantage early, and the bomb will go down today.
That's the info. Bomb will go down, but Ailey's got eyes on the player Jim. Able to snap for the third, so perhaps the ace in the round coming. Reposition. Trying to work from the same side. Sitting piano and now working top cat. Ethan just trying to find a soft spot. And, I mean, with McBain playing as deep as he is, sure, you're making noise glass, but that avenue essentially shut down. Time being burned, and you can tell Ethan just has not made a confident decision, trying to figure out where he can go, and it's not looking likely he'll have anything to wait.
Yeah, so you're going to need an optic lineup here to try and take a round.
Too soon.
It's never soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just, you know, choke every offense or defense on a control. But, yeah, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry's back there. Cash is an optic fan, so I have to poke fun at her when I can.
Something like that. But it was a tough situation to be in for Ethan. Isn't able to walk away with the 1v3 simply because what we didn't see in map 1. Carleton Ravens spread the map well, and you don't give easy gunfights behind playing the objective. So they'll take a round lead here. First offense we've seen executed with success. There's a push-up cat the last go-around. Nothing's going bottom head, though. They're just kind of trying to ego chow these gunfights. And I mean, you get traded out. I don't hate the play. Don't know if I love it. But now that you're in a man disadvantage situation, that was pretty much what you rolled the dice on, and it didn't pan out.
I mean, hey, love it or hate it, you get 2 for it. With the pistol, you'll get to a 2v1. Ethan, oh, he got great timing. Dive across the pool table. That's not how you play billiards, I can promise you that. Catches McBain on the timing, no. Back over to the bedroom. I don't know why we're challenging that. Maybe throw a shoulder. I don't know. That was, no, I'm not going to say it.
And you caught him sprinting back, so that was the easiest read Ethan will probably have this series. Knew exactly what he was going to fly out, and like you said, you don't have the info, you don't shoulder, and it just is a misplay there. You quickly let them answer back. These rounds have not played slow at all, Alex. It's come down to that first wave of gunfights, and who's man up after that? Carleton did have the 2-1 advantage, but Ethan's able to pull off the 1v2. Things are tied up, handshaking rounds at this point. Nothing convincing from either team just yet.
Boy, here comes a bang out. Ailey sprints straight up over to the right-hand side. Well, Snap had teammates there for help on Asylum. Both of them had run straight into each other pretty much every round in the search and destroy thus far. Zay has gotten into the backlines, though. He's looking for a few. Might be able to spot the challenge on the bomb planter. Ailey will fall 3v3.
Couple good picks. Early gets a trade P1. Now that he gets worked, you've got to quickly work from the grab side, get eyes on bomb D'Lo. I mean, I just caught sprinting, knowing that they could have collapsed on bomb quickly. Just wasn't in a position to even remotely find cover, so plays it quick. Not too big of a fan of pushing that, knowing he was at the same side that he could watch bomb also. Either way, might not have had the cleanest line of sight, but you give up a couple rounds. Mustangs back in control on the retake.
Catch a good timing. It's always nice when you do. A lot of those times, those flake players, they just, you know, they're like, all right, as long as I can get through and get one, I've done my job, and that's exactly what happened there. Zay will walk all the way through the bottom of the vault, rat his way onto a kill onto Ailey, and then you just trust your ARs over the top when they cross back on P1, and done and dusted, good round.
Mustangs with a chance. Now for one of the typical A-side hangouts here is you're going to line things up. Try not to pepper shots into a teammate. Chip will line up on the other side of things. Star with the second Ailey. You know he's going to look to fly forward quickly and collect this last player. Pretty standard round. Carleton win the lion's share of gunfights. Now it's just a matter of time. Barring a miracle, Ethan gets one. Gets out with his life, but still a lot of work to do.
They are all stacked on the A side. Good luck, Ethan. Let's see what you got here. I mean, if you catch McBain, you give yourself a shot at a 1v2. It's all on McBain's fault. Goes back to the very early days of Call of Duty and Search and Destroy. The second player to fall in a 1v4 is always the one who made the wrong play. You're watching over by Hedgies. Sorry. Backs off wisely. We can do this song and dance for a minute. You can throw shoulders. McBain didn't do it earlier, so, I mean, this time at least you get information from it.
Time running out. Gotta force the issue. Gotta work a pick, and it's just trying to see if he can squeak out a quick 1v1 given these angles, and not able to get the kill over Fireplace, so called upon once again in a clutch situation. This time, unable to pull it off. As you said, all stacked up in kitchen. Wasn't a whole lot to do.
One v 3. Longest round to watch here on Skyline. Probably won't see another one that long again. We find ourselves back on an offensive hit from Carleton. They've been 1 for 2 on it. Unsuccessful the last try. Let's see what they fancy this time around. Bomb gonna be up towards the catwalk. They're gonna do the exact same thing. This time, though, they've got 2 players they have to watch for from the Mustang side. You got 8 and 6. Ethan and Zay. One backed off all the way down to the bottom piano. Still 2 players playing top bedroom here for the Ravens. They have the map spread out. No opportunity for Mustangs to push through on a flank, but they're okay playing this waiting game.
Could pan out for him, because last go-round they punished him on a flank, so maybe just waiting to see if there's an overextension, but nothing being given. Both teams sitting fairly deep in their spawn side. You're starting to push up if you are the Ravens, but no one budging for the Mustangs. They're waiting for an A retake here. A little shuffle going down, but they're still not privy to the fact that it's A. Still convinced it could be B, but now jig is up.
They were ready. Oh my god, they just force sprinted straight through the doors and nobody saw them coming. Ailey was trying to be like, okay, yeah, I'll take a gunfight. Starry, though, for a trade. 3 in a row for himself. Get some toe shots in, but it's not enough. 3 versus 2. McBain on the flank side. Trying to cross from P1, and Chip is spotted out towards Top Cat. And they know exactly where he is. If he gets those shots onto Asylum, he gives himself a chance at the round. But unfortunately, yet again, Carleton will have an unsuccessful offense, and the Mustangs make a pay for it.
They trusted the retake, and that play back to kitchen to get in completely unnoticed. All 4 players just spelled devastation. Like I said, Carleton gave him another one, unsuccessful. Though they're playing it close, though they're still within realms of getting a lead. As we get to the dying light of the search and destroy, any lead is a good one at that. Mustangs 2 rounds away from going up 2 in the series, but still a fair amount of search ahead of us.
Run it back down. Here we go. Mustangs fly in. Chip almost makes it a double once again. At least finds the first blood. McBain by the pool watching the P1 cross. Catches a good timing. Toe shot successful. Escapes with his life. Will he be chased out? At least for right now, the answer is no. So in a 2v2, you're trying on the retake here. Dello is played over towards the bottom side of pool. And as Ailey should have heard the glass break. He's just trying to catch a timing, but he doesn't realize he's already slipped the net. So back with 28 seconds left. McBain's on the site, looking for the challenge. Over towards the left side, will back off to middle map. There's just a lot of work that they have to do, and so many spread out players from the Mustang that they need a 1v to go their way. Finally, they'll get it, but Ethan can just play his life here with 16 seconds left. He just has to play the time. A drop down possible. Defuse starting. Will he be able to check this perfectly? Head glitch for McBain. He travels around the right side and wins the 1v1. McBain wins it, but there's not enough time for him. He just second-guessed himself and took a 50-50. It's getting sticky, but he didn't stick the defuse.
Perfect timing. Perfect play. You don't even pre-fire it. He didn't want to waste any time on the drop down. Cleanest of shots, cleanest of play, Ethan. And the clutch converts this one.
Ay, caramba. McBain is not happy with himself right there. I can tell you that for a fact. He was like, there's no way he reach outs from hedges. But that was the best spot for him to reach out from. He had a head glitch that he could have used to his advantage. And the bomb was planted for the correct side. So McBain doesn't get the read. We go back to an offense here for the Ravens, where they've lost their last 2. And down 3-5 here against this Mustangs roster. Nobody is watching the vent push. And guess who's coming down? I lied. No, Chip is watching the vent push, so Asylum will be forced to back off. First one goes the Ravens' way.
Can't quite see the levels in the Codcaster, but they do take care of it this time. McBain will get another, so Bomb is down 4v2. Make that a 4 versus 1. Asylum last alive. Alex, we've seen this song and dance before. We'll see if he can make it any amount interesting. McBain gonna say no. They're able to walk away with it. They've given themselves no more room for error. It's gotta be 3 straight rounds, but hey, they're staying alive.
Hey, you're pulling it back. Huge shout out to thanks to McBain for the 3 gifted to himself in the round. And I will say this, I feel bad for Asylum in a sense, right? Like, he's had so many rounds where, like, the timing feels like it's going to be good and he either gets shot in the back or gets too aggressive up the map. Like, he's had so many opportunities for just a breakout play. He's 2-8. But it doesn't feel like he's 2-8 right now. He's been impactful in the rounds that they've been able to win. It's just like, he just can't get a timing on Skyline. You can't catch a timing. You feel like you can't even play the map.
We'll see if he can catch timing here. He slides around bar. Starry gonna try to open up the first, but there it is. Asylum strikes first. It's the first blood, though. It is traded out by McBain. He's gonna be pinned down for the moment. Ailey quickly on the flank. Pepper shot. Really gonna kill Alex. Oh my god. The last thing you could have happen.
Oh, he had a triple dipper and he decided to only take 2 of the entrees. Didn't realize that he had all 3 in front of him. And so you make the wrong decision on who you want to chow for. You lose your body, and now in a 3v2, you have to retake. 35 seconds left. McBain, who's on 4 in a row, still alive. They at least have a pinch forming. But it should get read out. Oh, shit. Spots him in the corner. 2v2. 25 seconds left, and Asylum will now flip around. D'Lo has the read on him. Good shots on a long-range snap. And with 20 seconds left, you have time to be able to give yourself the 1v1. Over towards the right side of bedroom. Oh, he doesn't spot out Asylum, and he thinks he's back over on the bomb site. But will he be able to get the read through middle map? Its shoulders being thrown. Slide challenge across. You slide back to the right, but you don't have enough time to go for the defuse. And even if you win the 1v1, you lost the round. He just keeps himself all tidied up, and the Mustangs will take map 2.
It's a moment where if he catches that bedroom timing, that could have been everything, at least to have the information. He could have made a more decisive push, even if he did go back through mid. Asylum. What a perfect call, too. So quiet. 2-8 going into the last couple rounds. Ends up collecting 3, one of those being a first blood, this one being a clutch 1v1 to secure map 2. All of a sudden, Alex, Mustangs quickly get out to a 2-0 lead in the series.
Oh, it could have been so good. It could have been tasty. It could have been so sexy. Ailey had quite literally a top 5 play on a platter in front of him. And he just gets a little apprehensive. He thought he found the first, was looking for the bomb planter on the second. It's like when you're playing football and you have a perfect dime thrown by the quarterback and you're like, oh, I have a touchdown in front of me. But you don't focus on pulling the ball in. You sprint before you have the full catch and you fumble it. And a fumble it was there that could have forced a round 11. Instead, we see a 6-4 win for the Mustangs. And I don't want to say the win conditions for the Ravens has gone out the window, but this is going to make that hill to climb a whole lot steeper.
Very, very tough going forward. Hard to say that Ailey plays a self-inflicted wound, but they definitely haven't made it easy on themselves. And again, the Mustangs just doing a fantastic job of taking what's in front of them. Simply put, they are capitalizing on the misplays out of Carleton Ravens, and as a result, up 2-0 in the series. So nothing crazy to say about what the Mustangs have been doing, but playing well, and they're being rewarded for it.
Now, Asylum turns it up in those last 2 rounds, allows the Mustangs to reap the rewards of a search and destroy win, which means they go up 2-0. Folks, if you remember at the top of the broadcast, or maybe you're just joining us here for the first time tonight, there are a few scenarios you need to be aware of. If the Mustang Esports roster is able to take on and defeat this Carleton Ravens team, regardless of what the score is tonight, they will face off against the Fisher roster inside of the conference championship, and that will be played out 2 weeks from now. For the Carleton Ravens, they also need a win inside of this best of 5 series. If they lose, though, that means that the side of Mustangs will, of course, make it on. But if Carleton wins, they also need a Fisher Esports loss. So there's a lot of scenarios that are going to be played out. Basically, just remember this. Both teams need a win, and that's pretty much all you need to know. One thing I do have to tell you about, though, because I don't know if you've heard. If you've been here for the last couple weeks, you've probably heard. But I don't know what you've heard and what you haven't heard. But if you want to rise to the top of the class, well, guess what? You can use the exclusive controller partner of College COD. That's a SCUF controller. If you haven't used a SCUF beforehand, let me tell you what it's like. It's like taking a beautiful, beautiful piece of bread. You know, that nice fluffy bread that you don't ever get all that often because we live in America and we don't have nice bread. But it's like that nice fluffy bread where you just put it in your hands and it feels right. That's a scuff for you. I use one every day, and it is gorgeous. So again, if you want to play like the best, well, you have to play with the best, and that is the Scuff, the exclusive controller partner of College COD. That being said, we'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we've got a control on a map we've already seen once. It's a vault control. Don't go anywhere. College COD returns in a second. As we were talking about during the break, hopefully your free agency cycle is going well. My team has not signed a single free agent throughout the entirety of free agency so far. Shout out the Dolphins. We love them. No, we don't. Mustangs, on the other hand, though, they are up 2-0, so they've got 2 free agencies in this one so far. And realistically speaking, although the maps look decently close, it hasn't felt that way, at least for the first hard point. The S&D was a little bit closer. A-Lee had a double lined up in that round that they went on to lose that lost them the search and destroy. Can't fault them too much, though. I mean, there were so many great options in front of him that he just kind of over-guessed it, second-guessed himself of what gunfight he wanted to take, and just wasn't able to walk away with the kill. So going into this vault control, Mustangs have a chance to not only clinch the series, but clinch the conference championship appearance against the Fisher roster that everybody knows and loves, who is the #1 ranked team in the CCL this season. Amber, from what we've seen so far, you've had some, time to think about it. I know after map 1, you had some things that you wanted to see from them. Has anything improved throughout the series and into the S&D?
I think they played a little more coordinated in the search and destroy, and that's why it, of course, played closer up until the end. Just some moments where when Mustangs turn up the heat, they can't quite hang and handle it, because I do think for the majority of it, they did play that search and destroy well. And as we go back to a respawn, things get a little faster. Mustangs look pretty damn comfortable on the hard point. If they don't manage the slaying early on, if they can't trade effectively, I think they're going to be really stunned in this one. So it's got to be a big response for them. Again, clean, concise, correct comms. They need to manage the map well, and they should be all right here. Back and forth, go the first opening kills. For the moment, you're staying alive to the map. Another gunfight to win. Starry going to take it.
Well, Starry's fortunate enough that Ethan was able to wrap over to the catwalk, so he stays alive inside of you. Stun check out of 1 is going to be able to find him, but the information was not enough for the kill. So Zay will drop. Has another one outside on the lion statue fight to take. First tick of progress will be locked in on this A zone as Starry will finally fall. He's still got teammates help in the middle of the map. In with the pistol from D'Lo. It's an A-Lee trade, but it should be quick from Ethan. So this will start an opportunity for a spawn trap on the Mustangs defense.
Need to play smart. You play a little slow here. Is there, again, checking for an overextension. I like it. Now they're just going to push through spawn side and try to push through mid quickly and find some of these kills. Are going to collect one P1, or excuse me, P3 door, and now going to find all 4. It was really well timed out of them to execute the push. That should be the A site for free. Another minute on the clock, make that nearly 2 with a 2 life advantage. It's looked good over at this A site. Can they continue to execute now?
It'd be a warm welcome to have them take this first offensive round here. But lots of work to be able to get that B zone. That needs to happen. Zay will slide challenge inside of you. And as he does that, you can see player 5 and Dello pushed all the way up the map. A consolation flank opportunity. The same could be said for A-Lee on the opposite side of the map. McBain will find 1, forces a 3v3 around the rest of the map. And so through the middle, challenges still left unanswered.
A-Lee collects another.
Huh.
So you have the second push is surrounded. Works the picks, collects them. Now with a couple players left standing mid-map, you just need to turn your iron, hold them. No reason to watch, but Zay rips A-Lee completely off point, so progress stops. Clock continues to dwindle as Spree comes in, he gets out with his life. Sure, you have a player in Starry top part, but he needs to make something happen to alleviate pressure from his team. D'Lo collects on the first. Can the trade come in quickly enough? Answer, going to be no for the moment. Now he's wreaking havoc spawn side.
That's such a hard gunfight to win with an an AR up close. Against the sub, trying to chow you top ammo. Umbrella was in the way for a moment, but it can't stop the sunshine from raining through. McBain on the back left. Gunfight on Zay won't go his way, so that's not going to allow them to actually get any sort of pressure on the left side of the map. So when you're trying to play this flank for the Ravens on offense here, you're still throwing bodies as much as you can on the opposite side of the map. The problem is Asylum is pushed up into your spawn side. Now it's 4 dead. This is where the trap can start. You find yourself top art, you look around for the rest of the Mustangs players, and you can see those red arrows pushing their way up the map. You can't break out the pool side right now if you're the Ravens. There's not a lot of space for you to take up. You still got to get to B with 24 seconds.
And still have stuff to clear out, and as long as Asylum is alive ammo, he is killing time, which is exactly what he needs to do. Chip can't even work towards zone, knowing he has to find this kill. You break out mid-map, you stop the clock for a moment, but no information on where these players are, like shooting fish in a barrel.
Slide challenge in. Close, but no cigar. McBain still here. Lays down on it. 4 lives remaining. Tries for the contestation. Can't get away with his life, but this allows the rest of Carleton to be here. Nade gonna take out Starry. Still players corralling on the point here from the Ravens. If they were to make this stick, oh lord, it would be gorgeous. Turn around from Zay, and a quick little snap to the forehead will allow Mustangs to take the defense.
The fact that less than 30 seconds they were able to break out of that trap and still give it a look. Impressive to an extent. But again, they just bled enough lives that with no respawns remaining, they had to make that push work. Weren't able to. Big round and a big play here to close things out of Zay and the Mustangs. At least 4 ticks of progress over on both sides, so at least that's something they can ride going into this defensive hold. They need a strong one at that. The Mustangs going to give it their best look. Both teams looking for objective advantage.
Kept the life advantage for most of that round until the end. It was just that 1-4 wipe that just kind of screwed them over, all things considered. Double drop down into the vault. They want to take over B, and there is no pressure on that exterior zone at the moment. Look back from the vault. Zay will wrap wisely into the spawn side of this Ravens roster, meaning that they will have no real look at anybody that crossed through. They know he escaped somewhere, but again, just not know the exact location of this player. Could spoil a lot of things. Oh, I thought they were going to line up for a moment. They get lucky.
They work back to zone, clear it out. No one on A for the moment, so they're just making sure they take care of B. Asylum playing where Ailey did the last round on this A push, just trying to chop down a few of these players, continuing to do so. Mid-map messy, 3 kills in the feed. That should be the clearance to work towards it. You're trying to get Chip out of top cat, and so long as he's alive, you're not quite getting a good look over at the A side. Asylum wins a big one in the back. That allows freedom for his teammates to roam mid-map. And he is catching fire on a 5 spree here, Alex.
I'm not sure why McBain just decided to just chuck a nade when his teammate just got horked on. Bottom arc, but to each their own, I guess. Ailey will return the favor this time, though, onto Asylum. Zay now pushing his way forward. Not very often do you see a defensive spawn trap here, but second tick of progress gone over on the A zone. Hop up into top art from Zay is there, and this could spell chaos and destruction rather quickly here. Should be able to regain their forces, but the first tick of progress had B locked in. Trying to find the last one on A. 2 kills go the way of the Ravens, and this is going to stall out at least this first offensive assault.
They find these kills and they clear off A, so I'm still dwindling with nothing earned. 45 seconds and counting. 4 Mustangs to make a play here. They end up winning the gunfight over towards the A side. That'll be 3. That should be the clearance. That should be another 60 seconds on the clock. You need to quickly find form if you are Carleton, and don't let them exploit the map too much. Starry with a big 2-piece. That lets them settle into their setup.
Oh, you have the vault control, though, which is the most important thing. As you slide back around the right-hand side, the hipfire shots are good. 4 straight kills here from Starry. Nobody else will drop down all just yet. But if you're Asylum, you find one on Chip and middle map. This is once again allowing you to just afford a little bit more presence up the map, force the Ravens to have to turn back around. And that distraction allows Zay to start wreaking havoc. Once again, looks over towards the left. Slide challenges back over towards the right-hand side. Starry stuck out in the corner. Good snap to the head. Somehow Zay is still alive here. Finally traded out. But a spawn trap opportunity. It's 6v10, 4 life disadvantage. You don't have a lot of room to wiggle around here if you are the Ravens.
And that's just the defensive spawn trap they had for a moment in the mid-round. They have to make the most of the situation. 3 for 1 in the feed. Once again, no respawns remaining. 50 seconds to work with. I mean, you just need to pick a few kills here and call it a day. You have enough time.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you are this Ravens roster, just sprint up the map and allow the Mustangs to take you. Instead, it's 6 ticks of progress for the 8th ranked Mustangs Esports team. So, talking overall, obviously we'd have to get to a round 5 for that to matter. You want to give yourselves a chance at the round, but the last thing you want to do is allow them to get all 3 ticks on that B zone. So, it's a tough call.
A tough control for the Ravens. Getting put in that trap put them in a situation where they couldn't play high risk, high reward. At the end of that round, they couldn't afford to take any flanks. There was plenty of time for it, but not enough resources. So they're down 0-2 in a control where slaying not quite going their way. Objective plate, you give up 6 there. All of it has to come together here in what could be our final round.
Double trophy as they sprint on in. Communication a bit lacking there. Won't have that for at least another couple of seconds. They do stay on top of the kills, at least for a moment, but Dello inside of the vault was not snuffed out. So 3-3 gone so far. Re-hit back into middle map for the Mustangs this time. Going to open up with a grenade being tossed. Silent beneath him. Will pair for a couple. And Zay up on top. Cat will be able to collapse on it fully. So, tick and a half on A. You're back to the spawn side, though, in a trap.
They need to break out of it quickly. Simply put, they've been in this situation before. They've bled too many lives. A couple kills gives them an opening for a moment. Poolside, they can try to trickle through, but it's got to be quick. And they need to be able to work some picks as they work up the map. You've got a silent pushed all the way up Cat. Now you can look up a palm side. Snaps for another. At least attempts to, but McBain gets one. The trade quickly comes in, so your further push up player is Starry with no support for the moment. And that clock is still bleeding.
Watches one cross across the catwalk. Gonna have information that two players are broken out over on the pool side. So this will be good enough to give the rest of the Mustangs the ability to press that gas tank forward up the map. 3 players down yet again. Chip, say hello to the P3 demon. That man is A.
Continuing to roll. It's been lackluster. Flat out of the Carleton Ravens and this control. It's been a tough series for them. Sure, they still have an opportunity, but with lives dwindling and the disadvantage they face, it seems like Mustangs are continuously in the driver's seat. You called it not letting off the gas, and that's the final nail in the coffin here, Alex. It is going to be a 3-0 in the control. It is going to be a 3-0 in the series. Mustangs, I don't want to call it a stunner per se, but we definitely expected a much closer matchup.
Yeah, I don't think it was a stunner, but yeah, no, you called it perfectly. Ravens flat-footed from jump. Just an outclassing from the Mustangs, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves. Slaying across the board, just a touch better. Search and destroy gameplay, again, just a touch better. But when you put a touch just right on it, you're going to get it done 9 times out of 10. So 3-0 in the series. Congratulations to the Central Maine Community College Mustangs Esports COD roster. You have found yourselves in the conference championships. All they needed was a win to lock themselves in. So for the Northeast Atlantic Conference, we will see this Mustangs roster playing up against Fisher in what should be a very fun match for the Fisher side. The Mustangs, it's going to be a hard one. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be tough. That Fisher team, again, I said they were number 1 for a reason. Good luck to anybody playing against them. That's where I'm going to leave that point.
Yeah, and I don't have much to piggyback. It is them for a reason in every head-to-head scenario on the other side of things. But hey, you convincingly earn it if you are Mustangs. A lot of homework to do before that matchup, so expect them to definitely put the time in. But more than anything else, it is going to be an uphill battle from the start. A convincing one here, Alex. Carleton, we said it. They were flat-footed the entirety of the series. How impressed are you with this series as far as kind of like that closing thoughts go with how they performed against Carleton? Were you shocked they came out this strong, or was it more so disappointment on the other side of things?
I don't necessarily think it was shock or disappointment. Really for either team. I think this is more or less kind of the expected result that I had coming into this. Maybe expected Carleton to play a little bit closer, and I mean they did play decently close. Obviously the control was a blemish there with a 3-0, but those rounds were decently close down to the end. But I expected this from the Mustangs roster. This has been a team that all year has been talked about as a team that could potentially cause upsets later on in the season. They'll absolutely be fighting for an opportunity to play for a college COD championship at the end of the year. We'll get a good test of the waters when they play up against this Fisher roster. But yeah, there are some things that do need to be ironed up a bit for Mustangs, but the same thing can be said for Carleton. They are the 20th ranked team. They could climb that ladder up a little bit further in terms of end of season placings and maybe show out just a bit better. I don't think, again, it was disappointing from the Ravens. This Mustangs team is just really good, and they played their brand of Call of Duty today. It was just pretty much as plain and simple as that.
They imposed their will from start to finish, and that was seen most evidently around the map, and then closely followed by the kill feed. Like you said, a tick better in both of those columns. Makes for monumental gameplay when the series is, coming down to it. And a 3-0 here for him feels good, but yeah, it's eyes forward now to that conference championship.
It absolutely is. Well, like I said, maybe not this week and maybe not next week, but I believe on April 24th is March 24th, there it is, will be the beginning of our conference championships. The actual schedule for it will be announced on the socials soon, so you can be on the lookout for that after this week of matches finds its conclusion. We will have a couple more matches coming up for you tonight. This next one has a lot of big implications for a conference championship matchup, so don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll fill you in on the scenarios, and you'll see two teams go at it in the best of 5.